You're listening to the Peasinner Network. For more great podcasts, go to peasinner.com.au.
Spoiler alert. I mean, honestly, if you listen to this podcast, spoilers.
Spoilers.
What I want to ask you and the listeners, and I think we need to put a poll up when we put this episode up, is, okay, if the Master were to have sex with the Master, is that wrong or just a really, really complicated wank? People of the universe, please attend carefully. The message which follows is of vital importance to you all.
Please try to keep up.
We present to you a case study of one of the most dangerous minds in the universe. A history of the lives and times of the renegade Time Lord known as the Master.
The Master. Call me Master.
The choice is simple. Join us and continue listening, or face total annihilation.
Listen.
They are the Master, and you will obey them.
You will obey me.
Please attend carefully. Hello and welcome to Please Attend Carefully, the Doctor Who podcast about the most magisterial of malefactors. I'm Ciarán Moffat.
I'm Amber Patrick.
And each week we bring you a chapter from the lives and times of the renegade Time Lord known universally as the Master. This week we will be looking at The Doctor Falls, a 2017 TV story written by Steven Moffat, no relation. Amber, tell us, what is it about?
So the Doctor, Missy, Saxon Master, and Cyberbill and Nardole are trying to save the settlers inside of this colony ship.
So World Enough and Time ended with I am Bill Potts. Cyberbill, as you said, I didn't know you were going to call her that, and I didn't realize like that. Is that like something that's said frequently online? You just said that.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. It does weird things in my brain.
Cyberbill.
I don't like it. So we cut forward a little bit in time.
I think this is a pretty standard trope. You cut into a nice field with some people in a wagon.
Yeah, lovely.
And then there's Cybermen, scarecrows, and you're like, okay.
The proto Cybermen.
Yeah.
The
patient
Cybermen, yes.
Yeah.
And the Doctor wakes up tied to a chair, being taunted by the Master and Missy.
Yes, I've written in my notes that they're circling him and talking about ways to kill him and ways he's died in the past. And I've written, this is some kink shit.
It is some kink shit.
Because they're into it.
You know what the energy is? It is like it's the energy of a dom on Grindr, just like messaging.
Yes, this is double teaming your boyfriend, but instead of sex, it's killing him.
Yes, but they ask some really interesting questions, like, you know, how have you died?
Yeah,
it's like I know you've fallen, which
they did.
Yeah, they did that.
You did that.
You did that. You literally hit the button that made it tilt, that made them fall. Anyway,
how many times have you died?
How many different ways?
Have you burned?
I know you've fallen.
Have you ever drowned?
Have you felt the blade?
I suppose what we're really asking, my dear, is, well,
any requests?
the Master / Missy are taunting / flirting.
I guess we could just call him Saxon.
Saxon, yeah,
for the
sure.
sake of ease for this episode.
Saxon and Missy
Yeah.
are flirting / taunting.
It's hardcore flirting.
It is
Oh, wait, no,
hardcore
that's
flirting.
the next scene where they're also dancing in front of him. There's a
And
record just playing somewhere.
yeah, somewhere.
And they're on a rooftop, just
there's-
as the world's falling apart around them. They're having a great time.
Yeah, I mean that's the Master.
I have a note here because I did say this is hardcore flirting.
Yeah.
Which other masters would flirt with one another?
Oh, interesting.
Do you think Ainley and Delgado would have had a bit of back and forth if they'd run into one another?
I think this is another one of your amazing alignment charts. Like, this is another one of you, like, which flirty, not flirty. I think McQueen is, I think he's up in the flirty
Yep.
scales.
Because Gattis and Missy flirt.
Oh, yes. Gators can flirt with anyone. Yes. Yes, want more of that. Anyway, so they're, as usual, telling the Doctor their plan. And the Doctor is tied to a chair.
This is exactly how the Cybermen work. Here's exactly how I program them. They only look for people with one heart.
Yeah, and the Doctor's just like, I already worked that out ages ago and I fixed it. You remember when you knocked me against the keyboard? And I very quickly did...
I mean, that's a thing we've seen as a reoccurring theme with this Doctor, is that all he needs is 1 second.
Yeah, right.
To be extremely clever.
Well, Steven Moffat has been trying to do that since the beginning, right? Remember the very first episode with Matt Smith? And he did that thing that we never see ever again. It's like, what did I see? I saw. What did I see? I saw. And he like...
yeah, that's the
pans
Sherlock
around.
moment.
Yeah, I was just like, oh.
Yeah. Don't watch that episode back to back with an episode of Sherlock.
So yeah, the Cybermen now have the idea that Time Lords are human because they've got 2 hearts. And
Yeah,
they think, it's a nice idea. It's a sweet idea.
Yeah, so now they're coming for the Masters and the Doctor. Their senses are trained on them.
A Cyberman lunges at them, but is then shot down by the other Cybermen behind them, which is the Cyber Bill.
Yeah.
I hate that that's a thing now.
And Missy knocks Saxon Master out.
Yes. I was always on your team. And you're just like, were you?
Yeah. She says, I've always been on your side, you silly sausage. She says to the Doctor as she unties him.
Silly sausage.
So Nardole shows up in just a nick of time. With
he's got a ship. He's got a ship
shuttle,
that will punch his way up through the decks of this ship.
And I don't understand here why the Master says to Missy, come on, grab Junior. And together they pull the Saxon Master off the ground. And at this point I'm like, why are you bringing him with you? Why are you bringing him with you? Leave him here.
I mean, look, they're not going to let him be converted, because if he gets converted, then Missy's converted.
But this is the same thing that we come back to all the time. Don't bring him.
Well, that's look. This is the whole point, right?
Tie him up.
The Doctor has more morals and ethics than the Master, and that is how this situation is always going to work, right?
Yeah. But instantly they knock him out and try to escape themselves.
I do love the gag where he gets into the Master gets into the back of the space shuttle and says, the Doctor says to leave, and also
the Doctor's dead, and he says he always hated you.
Yeah, and then Missy said, the Doctor's dead, and he said he always hated you. Yeah, I heard you the first time.
Yes,
it's
so
a good
great.
gag.
Yes, that there's a lot of talk in this one about them thinking the same, being the same.
Yeah.
Which is great, because I guess we should also frame this in that this is the first time. Masterful came out after this, right? So this is the first time that 2 Masters
absolutely
have ever been. No, it's not. Big
No.
Finish would have done it with Beavers and McQueen already, wouldn't they?
Oh, let's check the magic spreadsheet. I don't know why I did that voice.
Well, being dramatic.
Yeah,
we're dramatic people.
It wasn't really dramatic. It was more like
It's like game showy.
It was game
and
show,
let's
wasn't
head over to the spreadsheet to find out. It's a new car.
It's like a sports report. Okay, appearances. Let's have a look. They had already done it in 2016.
Okay.
You were right. Yes.
This is not the first time 2 Masters have ever crossed paths.
No. Also, Titan Comics had done it in a backup comic, which
Comics don't count.
oh, yeah. Look, I know what you mean. There's a lot in the comics that are great, but there's a lot that's also quite rubbish. Anyway.
We also get a line that I just want to mention, in that the Doctor asks the Saxon Master, how are you here? The last time I saw you, you were off to Gallifrey. And we find out that there was a mutual kicking off of the planet because the Time Lords didn't want him there, and he also didn't want to be there. Because the Doctor's like, oh, they kicked you off, did they? And he's like, it was a mutual kicking off. And I want to be like, Time Lords, don't do that. Put it in prison.
Is this...
Everyone, stop letting this man go free.
I mean, to be fair, the season before, the Doctor did just kick Rassilon off the planet.
Which I don't understand that either.
There is a lot of just booting off the planet. It's just like, we don't want... Just get out.
You've got a renegade problem and you know this.
It's almost like it's a systemic... Oh my God, I can't say the word systemic. It's almost like it's a systemic problem and you should be addressing the root cause.
Yeah. Like, this is why Narvin can't be in the show, because he'd make too much sense. Do you think Narvin lets that master out of their sight?
Oh, remember, kids, gaslight, gatekeep, Gallifrey.
Yeah.
Okay. We have talked, like, for the opening, 5-minute sequence, we've talked for, 15 minutes. But, okay. So, this story is basically set, as you said, the ship, for a recap, is, a big, long cylinder that is stuck in a black hole, or getting away from a black hole. It is getting away very, very slowly. The top of the ship is right by the black hole, and it is running very slowly because black holes absorb everything, including time.
Mm-hmm.
So the bottom of the ship is very, very fast. So they're about a quarter of the way up in this beautiful, idyllic pasture land that they've been there so long they don't even know that they're on a ship, which is kind of very clever but also lazy of Steven Moffat in that he's just like, I want to do... he wants to do a zombie film, right? Because that's what this is. It's a zombie film. It
yes,
is
because we see the Cybermen occasionally come up,
shamble forward,
and the townsfolk get guns and defend themselves. And then they're so hardcore, they hang the corpses of the Cybermen up to warn the other Cybermen.
Yeah, which
does
nothing because Cybermen have no emotions. So yeah, it is. It's like your average zombie, Day of the Dead. It's Walking Dead. That's what it is.
Yeah.
This sort of cabin in the middle of nowhere. All the kids are kept together so they're not taken to be converted.
See the enemy coming.
There's that really gruesome line where it says, "We keep all the kids together to keep them safe because they go for the kids.
Yeah.
Because there's less to throw away when they convert."
Yeah, fresher mind.
Oh.
Yeah.
Less just extra bits.
Also, that's Bill realizing that parts of her have been thrown away.
Yes. Well, so here we are. We haven't even...
2 weeks later.
Yeah, 2 weeks later, we're setting the scene. Bill is in the barn, and we see Bill as Bill sees herself, which is...
Human.
As herself, human. Yeah. But no one else can see her like that.
Mm.
So, after talking with the Doctor...
They're trying to talk to her. They're trying to have a conversation, but whenever Bill steps closer to them, they always, recoil and retreat, and she can't understand why they won't.
Well, yeah, the woman says, that I know the Doctor said you're not a danger, but still we're just a bit wary.
The children are scared of you or something,
Yeah.
is the line, yeah.
I am not upset.
Oh, well, doesn't that take all the fun out of cruelty? Might as well rile a fridge. Come on, this way.
I've written here as well that this is the farm AU that parallels the Anti-Genesis farm AU. Because we've had Missy, Saxon Master, Bill, and the Doctor living on a farm for 2 weeks.
And also Nardole, and I love Nardole really comes into his own in this story.
Yeah.
He gets focused. He becomes like a military leader almost. So yeah, Bill has to come to terms with the fact that she is a Cyberman, but she is not quite a Cyberman because there's something wrong. The fact that she is separated from them, the fact that she is different.
She cries.
And
the Doctor puts his finger up and catches the tear, and it's like, that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, no, you should not be able to do that.
Yeah. But then in swaggers the Saxon Master to this meaningful conversation to be like, well, you've been chatting to the robo-mop. Me have been busy.
Yes. Is this the point where we do a quick a quick book report on the short story that fits in here?
Oh, sure. If you want, we can do it here.
Yeah. What have the Master and Missy, what have Saxon and Missy been up to in this time?
So there's this small story, Allet in Underland.
Yes.
That goes somewhere in this 2 weeks. And it's basically, because in a minute there'll be a scene in the episode where they've been busy finding elevator shafts and things like that. So this is how they found those elevator shafts and what they were doing. So I won't go into too much detail, but there were some fun things in it. So basically, Elite is the little girl in the story, and then there's Saxon Master and Missy, and she follows them.
Yes.
Because she doesn't trust them, so she wants to see what they're up to. And they basically climb into the hole.
Oh, the hole that the ship punched up through the floor.
Yes, they go down there, and Elite gets scared of a Cyberman that comes up behind her.
Mm-hmm.
And so she climbs down the ladder. Because it's pretty clever. The ladder that they climbed up into the space shuttle with, they use that to get down the hole into
the next deck down.
Well, it's not really the next deck. It's like the internal maintenance tunnels and workings that are between each layer, which they mention are for maintenance men to fix the holographic suns. And things like that. We get some really awesome sort of just like descriptions of the Master and of Missy. So the kid thinks that the Saxon Master is like a cowardly bully. He's all nasty comments and exaggerated hand gestures.
I mean, on point.
Yeah. Missy calls him Mr. Grumpy Beard. One thing that it really tries to do is set up that he's the cowardly lion and one of the Cybermen comes down after them.
Is the Tin Man.
Is the Tin Man. And the Saxon Master hacks him so he serves them. So he's not chasing them. So they have a Tin Man slave robot with them. And Missy is, I think, meant to be the scare. No, because they also say that the Cyberman needs a brain. So there are a lot of Wizard of Oz metaphors in here, and they even walk
though
down,
the title is
they even walk down a yellow gangplank or like gangway at some point.
Yeah.
And it says that they've linked arms with one another as they walk down it. And it really, I was just a bit like, I think you're a bit confused about what story you're doing here. Like the Master of Oz or Elite in Oz would have been.
This is why this is evidence, I think, of someone who came up with a good title before they'd actually finished writing the story.
But it's really good. The Saxon Master accuses Missy of being Mary Poppins. And she says, oh, you know, we've always had a bit of a penchant for children's viewing. And Saxon Master says, when we came here, I expected that big baby sun to rise over the meadows. And remember those pink things? The knitted ones that went, hoo, 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 when they talked. The clangers, Missy replied.
Yeah, so we're talking here about when Saxon Master was Harold Saxon, he was watching Teletubbies and was baffled
and he
by
thinks it's literal.
He thinks it's real. And the Suave Master, Delgado, was watching the clangers in the Sea Devils.
What are you watching? It seems to be a rather interesting extraterrestrial life form. Only puppets, you know, for children.
Oh. At one point with the Cyberman, they go, oh, I think he's trying to talk. And they turn up the volume and he says, pain, pain.
Oh, dear.
And the Saxon Master says, I agree, in the backside.
God.
They get onto the conversation of women, because that's a reoccurring theme within this, because the Master knows he's going to become a woman.
Yeah.
And he says, girls have a way of disappointing you. 1 minute they're all lovey-dovey, and the next they stab you in the back. They're so fickle.
I mean, I think this is for Saxon, this is a very big reference, because of course.
Yeah, so the conversation keeps going.
Oh, yeah.
And Missy says, hasn't stopped us using women in the past, has it? And he responds, I use everyone. And here are some names. Missy says he uses Galea, which I don't know if we want to look who these people up, but anyway, Galea, Cassia, Shanto, and Miss Traphasis.
Okay, so Shanto, obviously.
We know who that is.
Yeah, and Miss Traphasis is the woman who picks up the ring.
Okay.
Yeah, and Galea. Oh.
And Cassia.
Queen of Atlantis, so Time Monster. And what was the other one, sorry? Other name?
Cassia, Kassia.
Oh, yes, the Consul of Ciarán, Treemass's wife.
Yep.
So, yeah, these are all the people that the Master has used.
Yes, and then Missy says, he says, you remember the names, how sweet. And she replies, I've been making myself recall them recently, yes. She allowed herself a brief smile of resignation. Then there's Lucy, of course. So then they start talking about, to the girl, trying to teach her about marriage and women, and she mentions that there's a boy that she quite likes, and the master says, if you married him, you wouldn't betray him, would you? And the girl shakes her head, and he says, of course you wouldn't, the master said sarcastically, just like Chanto and lovely Lucy Saxon. Missy says, Lucy wanted a way out, and that almost cost you everything, didn't it? And he says, like I say, fickle.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's showing that Missy has a certain amount of self-introspection. And
it says Missy looks away for a moment as if she'd found something painful.
It's interesting because obviously, like, Lucy Saxon shoots the master and kills him, well, ostensibly for the moment. See, that's a bit ambiguous, I suppose, in a way, because it's sort of hinted at that he's abusive, right? It is hinted at instead of like Roger Ap Gwilliam, where it's explicitly stated that he's abusive. But Chanto is interesting because we have that wonderful interaction with the War Master, you know, with Derek Jacobi just throwing everything in. Did you never know? Did you never once question? And she pulls out a gun because she's being threatened. And the beautiful line from the War Master is, now I can say I was provoked. So Chanto isn't fickle. He is the one that drove that. Like, he specifically, if the Master, like, if this is trying to sort of claim, and I think it is, that the Saxon Master sees himself as the victim. Yeah. Like, that's... They would do that, though. Yeah. This particular regeneration of the Master, absolutely, I think. Yeah. Is like, I'm the victim in all these situations, whereas really, no. No, you are the architect of your own demise. And Missy clearly has that last minute where it says that she feels something painful. She clearly feels bad for what she did to Lucy. Yeah. You know, because we know she's been having this rehabilitation. Yes. With the doctor. So I think that's over like a period, like I don't think we really need to talk about it in great detail, but like over this series, it's been a bit of an arc, right? She's popped up in a few different episodes. The doctor has asked her for advice. Bill has asked her for help. Nardole has asked her for help. She's been locked away and the doctor has been looking after her because he believes that she can do better. The doctor saved her life for her to do better. And you really, really get the sense that she is doing better. That she genuinely is. Yeah. And maybe it's only Missy that's capable of that. Yeah. Well, this entire little mini story is really about how Missy is actually working with this little girl and like constructively, you know, using her as an extra member of their party to get this done, their mission. Yep. So it is quite nice, this story, to really highlight the difference between Missy and Saxon Master. Missy comes up with this great idea. Basically, underneath, they find all of these like grain stores, farming. Like, it's basically a level that is for food production that then gets couriered up to other levels. Right. So there's all kinds of things here. And they find mice, and Missy gets the mice and builds little cages for them and hangs them around their necks so they have extra heartbeats. Because she says that the Cybermen won't be able to tell the difference between the two creatures being so close to one another. So it'll be like Missy has 3 hearts and the girl will have 2. And the Saxon Master resets the Cybermen so that they're only looking for 1 heart. Right. Okay. That's why they're only coming for the humans in the episode. Right. It's because he's set them that way again. And Cybermats show up. I love a Cybermat. Yeah, because we've got all the mice. Yep. So they fight those. It's funny. I do have a little bit here I think would be funny for you to read. Wellies, Missy corrected him with a Celtic lilt. I do not wear wellies. Come on, you know we always dress for the occasion. I suppose you have something in mind. The Master shook his head and sat down to pull on a pair of Wellingtons. At least they're black. I do like that. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I just thought it was cool that we bring in another reference. Like this author was really good at bringing in a lot of different references.
I always dress for the occasion.
Could you imagine if Robert's master saw him future selves pulling on Wellington boots?
Oh my god. We need more multi-master stories with him in it. Ugh.
So they basically have a conversation at the end where Missy says, I wonder how the doctor's injuries are. And Saxon Master replies, who cares? And he's like, tell me, traveling with the doctor, what's this all about? And she says, I was imprisoned. It was the only way out. And he replies, so did you have a plan before you ran into me? Get rid of him? Betray him? He licked his lips. Kill him? So like seductive and yeah, kill him. Like I'm just like, oh, calm down, sir.
Right.
But yeah, and they're successful and they destroy all the Cybermats, so the Cybermats won't be a problem in.
Oh yeah, just bring them in just so they don't have to turn up later.
Yeah, basically, it's just a fun side story and it's well written. I enjoyed it.
So the rest of the episode is basically a bunch of set pieces, I think, and not much of it really pertains to the Master. So obviously they're in this farmhouse.
I mean, I have plenty of notes, but anyway.
Oh, okay. They're in this farmhouse. They know that we'll cut in at any point.
Yes.
They know that the Cybermen are coming. One thing I really like about the Cybermen, we do see them massing and coming. What they've done is come on, man. We just see them massing and progressing up in their in the invasion to the upper floors. But because the one thing that I both like and dislike about this, right, is that you see different types of Cybermen. You see the Mondasian Cybermen, like the big clunky ones, like Bill, and then you see the Cyber style Cybermen, the big armored ones, and then you see the current style at the time, which are the more sleek ones, right? Yes.
I was going to say, in the Elite in Underland, we see the, like I'd say, Fifth Doctor era.
See, so, that's what I want. Yeah, I wanted some of that.
The way they describe them is very much they're in like jumpsuits with smaller panels on the front, but one's got the black handles.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're very much alluding to they've progressed more.
Yeah,
but not all the way.
The thing about those Cybermen, those different Cybermen, I thought it was great, but the problem was the logic didn't quite work. So what I wanted was for them to kind of point out that these different Cybermen were being developed on different floors. So like the most advanced Cybermen were right at the bottom, and then
that's what I think it is, right? Because they find this elevator in the woods. The Masters have found the entrance to this elevator, and they're like, okay, we can escape this way, and this is where the Saxon Master's plan basically comes back to bite him in the ass, because the Doctor explains, well, we can't take the elevator up to my TARDIS.
Yeah.
Because they're going to progress quicker, so they're going to stop us before we can get up there.
Yeah.
Because they're developing quicker than we are.
Yeah.
And you sort of see the Saxon Master go, uh-oh.
Yeah, uh-oh.
Oh.
And of course, the Saxon Master's TARDIS is right at the bottom.
Yeah. Missy calls the elevator.
Yeah.
And the Doctor's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And it opens and a Cyberman comes out because he was in the elevator.
Yeah.
And they all blast him. And the Saxon Master's just screaming, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it.
I do love that. And also, this is one of those things where, like, you and I said that, when we heard the comment about Russell T Davies changed the design of the sonic screwdriver because he didn't want it to look like a gun. I was like, if Steven Moffat hadn't been using it as a gun.
Yeah, because Missy points her umbrella and fires. Saxon Master's got his laser screwdriver. The Doctor's got his sonic screwdriver, and Bill's got the like energy beam.
Yeah.
And they all just blast it, and you're like,
and they've all got like it's very sort of I don't know, like Power Rangers-y or something, because they've all got different coloured beams. Like Bill's is yellow, and the laser screwdriver is sort of greenish, and like Missy's is purple, and the Doctor's is blue.
Yeah,
and you're just like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say was, we find out that the Saxon Master's TARDIS is right down the ground floor because time has moved on, obviously, but he ruled them. Like, he was an emperor.
Yeah.
And then basically he was there long enough for them to rebel against him and then get rid of it. And then he had to that's why he had to disguise himself as Mr. Razor.
Yep.
Because just like the Prime Minister.
It's so funny.
Yeah, you wouldn't understand.
Well, let's see how I do. Your TARDIS got stuck. You killed a lot of people, took over the city. Lived like a king till they rebelled against your cruelty. And ever since then, you've been hiding out. Probably in disguise because everybody knows your stupid round face.
We go to this scene where him and Missy I can only describe as a kind of languishing a bit in the house.
Yes.
And he's putting on eyeliner.
I was just like, my God, he puts on eyeliner. This is amazing.
He's like actively got a little mirror.
Yeah,
and
right.
He's like, gotta look my best.
The Master has like a pocket mirror.
Yeah.
He has a compact.
Yeah. He's gay as hell.
Oh, it's amazing.
I also wrote that they're clearly both gay because neither of them are sitting properly. He's like weirdly up on a windowsill. Her feet are up on the desk.
The bisexual urge to not sit properly.
Yeah.
This is the scene with the he's getting a bit frisky.
Well, he explains that his TARDIS is not working because Missy's like, "Come on, we'll just go get your TARDIS," and he's like, "Oh, it doesn't work." Because he blew the dematerialization circuit.
Which he always does. There's always one. And Missy responds to that saying, it's funny because this happened to me once, and so I made sure I always carry a spare, which is Steven Moffat using time travel. Mwah.
But also, she doesn't just say that. She pushes him up against like a beam and pressed up against him and reaches into her pocket and produces it. Which,
what I love is it is actually the prop from the Third Doctor era. It is that beautiful sort of,
Yeah, it looks exactly the same. So she has a spare dematerialization circuit.
What I want to ask you and the listeners, and I think we need to put a poll up when we put this episode up, is, okay, if the Master were to have sex with the Master, is that wrong or just a really, really complicated wank?
I was going to say, have you ever seen that tier list, well, not tier list thing, but have you ever seen that thing that's like, would you have sex with your clone?
Yeah.
And it's just all the different variations of it's just masturbation, or who knows how to fuck me better than me? And I think they're in that category.
But he gets frisky.
He says, is it wrong that and he peters off and I wrote, have an erection?
And she's like, yes, very. God.
That's the ultimate grandfather paradox. Where you get yourself pregnant.
Jesus Christ.
So it's just a you, because the genetic material from both of you is you.
By the way, is it wrong that
Yes. Very.
The humans are preparing for war. The Masters are going off and having a cold shower.
You don't know. Maybe they followed through. I don't think they did.
Do you think they followed through? Tell us. Answers on a postcard. What I love in this is the Doctor tries to make a speech to Missy and Saxon.
Well, he comes out and finds them again, languishing just on a stone wall, just like.
Do they just wait
here,
for...
just draped over this stone wall, waiting for the Doctor to
laying there, just
find us here.
Like, this is bloody cold. Is he coming yet? So he tries to talk to them and do a speech, and they start walking away, and it's a beautiful scene because Steven Moffat really understands this. They're walking away and he says no, and they keep going, and he's just like, hang on a minute, no, when I say no, you stop. That's how this works. We've got a thing. This is a social contract. When I'm telling you what's wrong, you bloody well listen.
I love as he does this speech as well, because both John Simm and Michelle Gomez kill it with the reactions to this.
She has such a subtle...
Oh, it's phenomenal. Her tiniest lip tremble ever. Looks like she might cry, but is holding it together. It's so downplayed for a Master performance.
Yeah. Because the Doctor's speech is all about... As we know from, the Saxon Master, he does what he does for reasons, for self-interest. The Doctor does what he does because he does it.
Yeah.
That is the whole essence of his speech. You can't understand that because I do this because I have to, and I make sure that I have to.
And I love John Simm as well, because while Missy is clearly listening and taking in what the doctor is saying, John Simm's performance is just of glazed eyes, not a single thought in the world, just like clearly not listening, just like the tiniest smile on his face, being a shithead. This master is just the biggest asshole of all of them. Like, he's actively rude.
Yeah. Look, Capaldi gets given some of the best speeches ever. And this is one of the best speeches. I mean, even just that one line, you sum it up, who I am is where I stand, and where I stand is where I fall. And that's just, like, aside from being a hit pop song somewhere, I'm sure, that is just beautiful. And Missy gets it. Like, she gets it just a little bit.
And he says, stand with me, it's all I've ever wanted. And Missy just whispers, me too, but leaves with Saxon Master. And you just don't know if she's still pretending.
Exactly.
Because we got the hint earlier that she was pretending, or if she's really fallen for, the Saxon's rhetoric.
Missy. You've changed. I know you have. I know what you're capable of. Stand with me. It's all I've ever wanted.
Me too. Well, no. Sorry.
So they're heading to the elevator to go get the Master's TARDIS.
Yep.
They're going to go down to the bottom floor that is swimming with Cybermen. Although, as Missy points out, all the Cybermen are heading up at the moment. So if they go down, they might actually be all right.
And she wants a hug. She puts her umbrella on the ground and she sort of says, come over here.
Yeah.
And she wants to hug him.
And he, being the horn dog that he is just like, well.
I'm not going to say no. Okay. And it's like, again, it's a bit of his downfall because you could be like, come on. He's arrogant though, I suppose, in this regeneration. He's very arrogant.
Very, very arrogant.
And the music in this scene is incredible that kicks in as they hug. It's really,
Marigold.
It's really ominous and incredible.
And she quite literally stabs him in the back.
Yeah. She says, I loved being you, every second of it, the way you burn like a sun, like a whole screaming world on fire, and stabs him.
Yep.
And you don't even realize, like, it's so eloquent that it's not until they pull away and he's got blood on his hand.
Yeah.
That you know that, It's a really cool metaphor of, like, self-sabotage.
It is, isn't it?
Backstabbing. Yeah.
And you kind of get this sort of resignation from Missy that, at least the way I read it, is that no, Missy isn't good, but she's at this point now where, right now, where she is, just for once, she has to help the Doctor.
Yeah.
That he has given her everything and she owes him now.
She's got to make up for everything she's ever done. Like, in that little story, how she was remembering the names of the people she's used, She owes it to all of them. She says it's time to stand with the Doctor. And he just, like, really violently screams. He screams her name.
Yeah.
Like, and he sounds really, like, aggressive.
Yeah,
and he's like, Missy! And then he says, I'll never stand.
Yes.
With him. Like, we never will.
Yeah.
And he shoots her.
Yep. He shoots her with his laser screwdriver. He says that she won't be able to regenerate. And so you have this scene where, like, the Master is in the elevator, and it's a beautiful shot with the Master in the elevator just laughing as he goes down.
Yeah. And he says to Missy as he departs, you see, Missy, this is where we've always been going. We shoot ourselves in the back.
Yep.
But yeah, he
goes, and we know that he's going to regenerate into Missy.
And she's laying in the woods.
Yep.
Just all alone, and we don't see what happens.
We don't.
But we have a few things to talk about.
Yeah. So we did the episode on the Lumiat, which the Lumiat claims that what happened was Missy tried to force a regeneration using an Elysian field, but while doing it, she tried to force all of the goodness out of herself.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting take, isn't it? Like, that's why I said I don't think she has, like, in that scene where she says she's got to stand with the Doctor, I don't think she has turned good. I think she is still a selfish person at heart.
I mean, killing the Saxon Master is almost enough. Because he is arguably worse than her.
Yes.
So killing him is doing enough good maybe, to avenge all those people he's wronged.
And I mean, I think maybe if Missy is this person, like maybe if now Missy does see all the wrong she's done, maybe in the end she is a weak person who would rather lose that. Not like she knows the only way that she can stop feeling this is to be someone else.
Yeah.
Like she knows that she's a bad person. She knows that she wanted to help the doctor and she couldn't. But she wants to stop feeling that.
I think it's really clever on Moffat's behalf to have put this scene in and for there to be no payoff for the doctor.
Yeah.
To never see what happened, thinks that Missy betrayed him.
Yes.
And never came back for him, whereas she didn't. And we know that she didn't.
Yeah.
And like that's bittersweet for us to know that she was going to try and get back to him and that it worked, that all the effort he put in, like it was an achievable goal, what he was setting out to do.
Yeah.
But he just never gets to. And then the next time he shows up in the doctor's timeline, he's even worse.
Yeah.
Because he's insane.
Yeah.
You know, he's worse than Saxon almost. Like it's
absolutely worse
so
than Saxon.
It's, you know, all that hard work, it did work, but then the doctor gets the worst possible scenario of it all. And it's really sad because he loses everything in this.
Yeah.
Because he thinks he's lost Bill.
Yes,
because he's alone in the snow.
He doesn't even know if he succeeded beating the Cybermen, I think, in the end. I don't think he fully knows.
Yeah.
Which is kind of why, like, you have to look at this, like him trying to rehabilitate Missy, right? Him feeling like he failed at doing that must hugely contribute to his desire not to regenerate.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I couldn't do this. I failed at it. Like, he must feel like he failed at the end of that, which very much leads into him going, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm sick and tired of it.
Yeah.
Which is the same as what Missy's feeling. Like, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm sick and tired of it. I need to change. Whereas the doctor wants to just stop. He's like, I want to die. I do not want any more of this. Whereas Missy wants to keep going, but she doesn't want to be feeling what she's feeling. So she needs to be a different person, which of course backfires in the end. She becomes a nice person.
Yes.
Who she later, kills and leaves to regenerate. And again, as we've said, we've got to feel bad for that poor family who are just like, oh, that poor woman, what's happening over there?
Yeah.
the first people that the spy master meets.
Clearly, he's probably murders them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I really like this episode.
Yep.
I have in my notes here that when he kills Missy with the laser screwdriver, I wrote in all caps, I love him. He's the pettiest bitch alive. Because watching this really reminded me, because, I keep saying how much I love Derek Jacobi and how the War Master's my favorite. But then when I watch this, I'm like, oh, I love him.
Yeah.
I love the Saxon Master so much.
It's just a problem that I've said it before, he's inconsistent.
Yeah.
He's inconsistent. Like, I love Sound of Drums, Last of the Time Lords, and I love this.
Yeah.
End of Time.
Oh, I love End of Time.
It's all right, but it's just not the same character as far as I'm concerned.
We have to remember that he films these all
absolutely.
so far apart from one another that he doesn't get a real good role going with this character.
No, of course not.
It must be very stilted to play this in segments. I love the theme of this episode being women. And there's a lot of reference to him being like, is the future all girl?
Yeah.
And I wonder how much they knew that 13 was going to also be a woman at this point. Like, did Moffat know? Was that included in the writing?
I don't know.
Well, this episode heavily implies, because he says, is the future all girl? And 12 says, I hope so. Or something to that effect. We can only hope, I think is the line.
Yeah.
And it heavily implies, I think,
Yeah.
that the Doctor is going to become a woman.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it would have been weird for the next episode after this for him to have become another man, I think.
The idea that Time Lords could change gender was something. It was just the sort of thing that, like, every time an actor had to change over or something, someone in the media say, "Could the new Who be a woman?" And that would be something that, and no one basically ever actually really took it seriously, I suppose.
Yeah.
The only time it ever, like literally in the show, the only time it ever comes up is Neil Gaiman mentions it in the Doctor's wife, where he mentions the Corsair were like, oh, they were all great blokes except for when she was a woman, and what a woman. That's the first time it is ever explicitly mentioned in the show that a Time Lord can change gender. And then it was only actively shown when Missy was announced. So, like, when you're looking at this is like 2012 and 2016 or no 2015, and you go, this is insane. Like, this is those are the only times. And then we didn't know that the Doctor could do it until 2018.
Yeah, because one happened. We see one on screen happen in Heaven Sent, the Gallifreyan guard.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
The guard
yes,
dies
that is the first time we actually see it actually happen. Yes.
Yeah, becomes a woman, and they're like, "Oh, thank God," or something.
It's Ken Bone's general character. Yeah, and she says
race as well. Is it a white man to a black woman?
It is. Yes.
Yes.
And she says it's the only time I've ever been a man that last regeneration. Which was a good gag because she said, how do you handle the testosterone?
Yeah, it's fun, but yeah, that's the theme of this episode as well, is women.
Yeah, women. Girl power. I support it wholeheartedly.
Do as she says.
And aside.
Do as she says. Is the future going to be all girl?
We can only hope.
All right, Ciarán, were you attending carefully?
When I watched it about 2 weeks ago, sure.
All right. How does the Doctor describe the Saxon Master's head?
Oh, like an egg?
Nearly.
Ping pong ball.
Kind of.
It's sort of just round.
Yes,
Yeah.
the word he uses is "you and your round head."
Round head. That's right.
very-
He gets really upset, doesn't
And
he?
he's
I
like-
don't have a round.
And it's perfect because the shot that they put that in, his head is tilted just perfectly that it is completely round. It looks perfectly spherical. And he's like, I don't have a round head. And you're like, sir, you clearly do.
We should point out, we didn't point out at any point during this that he's wandering around with the classic goatee. Like,
Oh, we didn't talk about his outfit.
yeah.
His
So
outfit's gorgeous in this.
let's just. So his outfit in this, so he's wearing the goatee, which he says is a bit classic, and he strokes it a bit, and he's wearing what looks like skinny jeans, to be perfectly honest.
Probably.
But he's wearing this sort of black coat with this sort of the lapels have got like red underneath, so he's got like one side up and one side down.
Yeah.
Which is a really cool, bold look, which they later took and used for He Who Won't Be Named on Big Finish covers.
Oh, yeah. But no, it's a really beautiful look. And it hints to that it's like a classier version of the hoodie.
Yeah.
That, they clearly weren't going to put him back in that because he's
It's
classier.
it's basically like they took it's like a half open Nero jacket almost.
Yeah.
So I think they're sort of meeting in the middle between the suit and the hoodie and the Nero jacket.
It's like a teenage goth punk skater kid who's finally gotten a job and got some money and doesn't want to like completely lose their look, but's just upgraded it a little.
And of course, the eyeliner.
Yes, the eyeliner. I love that even Missy's wearing some sheer gloss and stuff in this. Like, both of them have touched up their faces. All right. The Master tells Bill he's going to be a woman soon. What does he ask her for?
Any tips on...
No, that's correct. Any tips?
Oh, just any tips.
And one more thing. Any tips or...
any old bras.
Yep.
Any old bras, any old bras, any old bras.
I like that. What room are Missy and the Master languishing inside of? What kind of room is it?
What kind of room is it? Is
Yeah.
it a kitchen? A dining room? No. I'm trying to remember. I mean, it's wood. There's a pillar. There's it's inside the
Yeah.
farmhouse.
Yeah, you watched this 2 weeks ago. I didn't realize it was that long ago. I thought this was a good visual,
Oh, okay.
a fun visual location for them.
It's not a bedroom.
No.
What other rooms are there in a house?
Think of the children, I guess.
Oh, is it the schoolroom?
It's the schoolroom.
It's the classroom? Oh my
Yeah.
God, they're little emo kids.
Yeah, and there's like a row of old desks, and there's all their games, and they're on. Yeah, I just like them. I don't know. I just liked them being in a classroom.
I like the. It harkens back to the you people out there in your academy days.
yeah. That's, to be honest, that's what I thought of.
Yeah.
But everyone else is out preparing for war, and they're hiding in the classroom inside,
doing their makeup.
Yeah. Right. What are some of the names that Saxon Master calls Missy? Again, you watched this 2 weeks ago, so
girly? No,
I don't think so, but I might have missed it.
yeah. Girl, me.
Yeah, me is correct.
Me, yeah. Oh God. Missy. Well, it does call Missy.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
won't be on there. Love, darling. What are you playing at, darling? Reset the Blackadder clock. No idea.
It's funny because he shortens her name even further because Master, Missy, Sis, lady version. That was
Lady
my favorite.
version,
That was my
yes.
favorite. Come on, lady version. Yes, I do love that. Me and me are going to go and do this.
Yes.
Come on, lady version. And
Me and B.
all right, what's the last thing the two of them do before regenerating? As in vocally.
Laugh.
Yeah.
They
both laugh.
They laugh. He
Yep.
does a really good. He does a proper.
So that might have been his highest score ever.
Possibly.
4 or 5, I think.
Good God.
Yeah.
It's a wonder. I don't know how I keep doing this, to be perfectly honest. Okay.
Deaths.
How many deaths?
Well, apart from obviously all the people that have been killed because he made Cybermen,
Yeah.
there's the Cyberman on top of the roof. He kills that one when it appears. And he kills Missy.
Oh, of course.
So 2.
And Missy kills him.
Oh, yeah, so 3. I forgot that Missy also needed to be included in this.
Yeah. And again, look, if we just.
And I mean, they kill like hundreds of Cybermats and all those kinds of things in the story. So it's
like when you like.
Yeah.
Individual
I don't know
dead
why we do
Cybermen
this segment
don't
anymore.
count. Right. Why do we? Like, it seemed like such a good idea to begin with, and now it's like.
I think if we were just doing the classic ones,
yeah,
then that would be
like we'd understand,
because it was meant to be a counter to see how effective is the plan.
Yeah.
But then it really eventually just becomes a case of like, oh, it does not matter.
It does not matter. No, they're just having fun at this point. But yeah, like if we start counting individual Cybermen,
it's only because he very specifically kills it by himself with the laser. Oh, and I guess he contributes to killing the one that comes out of the lift as well. But yeah. Kill it.
Yeah. We may have to reassess the format.
Yes, the death counter may subtly go away.
But what did we learn? So much.
Yeah.
Well, I think we got to really.
Where do you think the master buys his eyeliner from? Is he stopping it in a Boots? I'm just going to nip in here.
Yeah, where does he get his makeup from? Did Missy and him do it?
I don't think so.
You don't think
She's
so?
better than that, I reckon. I think he would have been right up for it.
I mean, he clearly was right up for it.
He was. That's true. Oh, I have a really not safe for work thing to say about the doctor's speech.
Okay. Go on.
But I'm going to lose some of my dignity when I say it. When it goes out, I want you to bleep so that only you and I know what I've said.
Okay, sure.
But the doctor's doing this big impassioned speech about, where you stand is where you fall and all that thing.
Yeah.
And he's got that glazed expression. And all I could think was... So you can just bleep that out.
Yeah, I will edit that the best way I possibly can.
This is what goes through my mind when the Saxon Master's on the screen. I can't help it. I've read too much fan fiction of him.
Should we start reviewing fan fiction? Are my sensibilities gonna be like completely thrown out the window?
And I'm gonna be like, and here's another 10 simfic, and you're like, Amber, can we please do another pairing? And I'll be like, no.
Okay.
We didn't do any what did we learn, so we have to still do some what did we learn.
Okay. What did we learn? Did we learned that Missy that the relationship that the Missy and the Doctor have had over the last season did actually matter.
Yes, it worked.
And I mean, their relationship has always been kind of close because if you look at Darkwater, Death in Heaven, like she controls the Cybermen for the Doctor.
Yep.
Like she's like, this is all for you. I've done all of this for you.
Yeah. And it worked as well as it could in that she didn't overtly join his side and crusade with him.
Yeah.
It worked to the extent that she subtly was willing to assassinate her old, unhelpful self.
Yes.
And then would have come back to him. You know, I think that's the best it gets.
Yeah. I mean, bootstrap paradox though. Like that was always going to happen, right? She was always going to be the one to kill him to regenerate into her, to kill him to regenerate into.
And same with the TARDIS. The
the
circuit. She threatened him. He remembered to keep a circuit on him.
Yeah.
She has the circuit when she meets him, you know. We learned still, I mean, I come back to this a lot, is that no matter how shit the Master is, no matter how much he insults Bill and like he tries to actively hurt everyone around him, the Doctor won't give him up. Or like
the Doctor doesn't actually stop him at any point.
No,
which is kind of.
There's a scene where the Bill and the Doctor are talking and the Master interrupts them and he's really awful to Bill.
Yeah.
And he says, oh, you were boring all that time, but it's okay because I got it back on you. Look at you now. And he just swaggers away and the Doctor doesn't say anything. The Doctor's not like, hey, back off.
Yeah.
Don't talk to my friend that way or anything like that. He just kind of shrugs and follows him. And it's like, come on.
Another Doctor would have. So I like the 10th Doctor would have said stop it. The 10th Doctor would have done his usual, which is stop it, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me.
Yep.
The 14th Doctor, by extension, I think would have definitely
you're like, oi, leave my friend alone.
Yeah, 14 is 10 plus empathy.
Yeah. And what, 15 would be like, babes, we don't insult our friends that way. Can't wait for 15 to call the Master babes. It's going to happen.
Oh, dear. I think anything we've learned we've kind of covered in the episode because it's just that it's a character-driven piece, I think. It's one of those simple plots. It's right, like it is like base defense. Cybermen are coming. You must defend long enough to get out.
Yeah, and isn't it interesting? Because one thing that we have been tracking previously with other versions of Missy, so I'll do it here, is that Missy has the Saxon TARDIS, their regular TARDIS when she clearly regenerates.
Yep.
But then very quickly is going to lose it. Did we cover that in the first Missy box set? Doesn't have it.
Yes, well, we're not entirely sure at what point. Yeah, it's hard trying to pin down a timeline for Missy.
Somehow the Saxon TARDIS that they escape in and regenerate in, they lose.
Yeah.
And then they are looking for the Master TARDIS and the dematerialization.
Well, now
not
with
the
Vortex Manipulator.
Yeah.
So with the most recent box set that's come out, Bad
Influence.
Bad Influence, which is beautiful. Some of the best we've heard.
Yeah.
That is obviously like the earliest in Missy's timeline, right? Because she doesn't even have a Vortex Manipulator.
That's right, because she has it when she meets the monk. So she...
Yeah. So it's... Yeah.
So somehow she loses that TARDIS, which is interesting. Big Finish still haven't
I mean,
touched on that one.
Big Finish love a gap.
Yeah.
They love a gap.
Yeah, they saw him descending in that elevator and went, right. get riding.
Something's gonna happen. So yeah, she obviously loses her TARDIS and then gets a Vortex Manipulator and then gets a new TARDIS and and then the new TARDIS doesn't work and
she gets it fixed.
Yeah, and then she obviously gets a new Vortex Manipulator at some point.
Yeah, and then Dwan Master has a TARDIS, but is it the Master TARDIS or?
See, what I wanted, like, because what the Master TARDIS is meant to call all other TARDISes to you, right? I know I kind of want a story. This is just coming out of my head here. I kind of want a story where, because we know that TARDISes are all linked via the Eye of Harmony, and the Master spent time in there. Like, I kind of want the Master TARDIS to have like a back door into all other TARDISes or something, so Missy can just sort of caper into the Doctor's TARDIS.
The monk, like, what?
How did you get in this time? The monk, of course, another Time Lord who has learnt to keep spares of bits because the Master and Missy and the Doctor keep stealing bits from his TARDIS. Cool. All right, I think we've covered all of it. So it's a chaotic episode, but that's fine, as usual. That's all for this week's episode of Please Attend Carefully. Thank you so much for listening. We hope that with each new episode you come to understand, appreciate, and maybe even obey the Master. Don't forget to follow or subscribe to be updated on new episodes. Amber, how can listeners get in contact with us?
They can send us an ask on Tumblr at Please Attend Carefully. Send us an email, pleaseattendcarefully@gmail.com, or follow us on Instagram at Please Attend Carefully.
Yep. And don't forget, we also have a Patreon with exclusive content available up there, with tiers starting at just $2. I've been Ciarán.
I've been Amber.
We hope you'll be tuning in to our next episode. After all, it can't hurt you to listen, can it?